You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is October 8th, and the 49ers just finished a dominant win over the Dallas Cowboys, 42-10. Joining me today to talk about the game is my brother. Both of us were at the game, but it was an incredible atmosphere. It felt like a playoff game, and it's week 5. It was crazy about that. So, Fabio, what'd you think? What were your overall emotions over this game?
Man, I'm just happy that I was in the building. It felt like a playoff game. The atmosphere was electric. I'm just happy that the whole nation got to see the 49ers, see how dominant they are, both on the offensive, defensive side. And can we say the Cowboys are pretenders?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that's the best part about this game, right? The fact that the nation was watching. And I think we saw the 49ers, offense, Brock Purdy, the defense, all on display to really make a statement in this one. And all week, we heard about how important this game was going to be for the Cowboys. They need to get the 49ers monkey off their back. This was going to mean a lot for their season and, their playoff hopes. But it was an important game for the 49ers, too. And I think they made a big statement in this one as well. I mean, we were looking at some of the stats here. It's hard to keep track when you're at the game, some of these, but looking at them now, 49ers had 25 first downs to the Cowboys' 8. Total yards, 49ers had 421, and the Cowboys had 197. So it was just domination from the 49ers side, top and bottom. So, and I got to give credit to the 49ers defense, I think, because seeing what they had done to this point, I thought this was going to be a challenge for them, right? Cowboys offense, we know how much they've been discussed this whole time, but they limited the Cowboys to just 10 points today. And we saw Dak make a ton of mistakes. And really, I think that had to do with the 49ers defense, their patience, and pretty much waiting for it to happen, right? So props to the defense, props to Fred Warner. We were just talking about how dominant he was.
Huge game from Warner.
Huge game from Warner. And, Warner and Greenlaw, they were both all over the place, it felt like. And we're just looking up the stats right now for both of those guys. And we'll get to the offense in a bit because they were also, amazing. But Fred Warner had 8 tackles. He had a sack and a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit. Dre Greenlaw had 5.
Interception, too. Don't forget the interception.
The interception as well. Yeah, they didn't list it here, but he had an interception, too. The 49ers had, 3 interceptions? 3 interceptions on the day. Greenlaw had 5 tackles. He also had a sack, and he had a tackle for loss and pass defense, quarterback hit. Those 2 guys were all over the place, and it made things difficult for the Cowboys because the Cowboys were trying to push everything to the side, and these 49ers linebackers are so fast that any play they try to run to the outside was just, limited to short gains.
Yeah, I think I'm a strong believer in defense wins championships, and those 2 guys, Greenlaw and Warner, really set the tone early. They came in and right off the bat kind of just set the tone. And, the Cowboys didn't get their first down till 12 minutes in the second quarter.
Yeah.
They went the whole first quarter without a first down. So right off the bat, they set the tone, and just the Niners just took off from that point on, right? It was a huge performance by those 2 guys. High level performance, and can't say enough about those 2 guys. Definitely the best linebacker duo in all of the NFL. I think the nation got to see that right now.
Absolutely. And I think if people didn't know that already, they definitely found out today. But I also think another thing that they found out today is Brock Purdy, I think, is the real deal. I mean, going into this week, we heard about how dominant this Cowboys defense has been. And, part of that had to do with some of the opponents they had faced to this point. But, something to be cautious about. Micah Parsons is certainly a early Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And the 49ers overall, I thought, did a great job of limiting him and his impact. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
There we go.
And limiting his impact in this game. So I thought Brock Purdy did a wonderful job. He was 17 of 24, 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, someone just brought that up. Career high, 4 touchdowns against the best defense in the league. Man, this is the best 49ers offense we've seen in a really long time, and I'm really excited about it.
Definitely. A lot of the focus was on Christian McCaffrey last week with his performance, right?
Yeah.
And then guess what? 1 week later, Brock Purdy does the big 4, right?
Yeah.
Kind of matching CMC's performance from a week ago. And like you said, Steph, I think the entire nation really got to see the real deal that Brock Purdy is. Like, he is elite. He should be considered as a top 5 quarterback in this league, if not already. He deserves all the recognition. He came to play, you know, and I think that's the difference when you talk about Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy. You know, for big games, Dak just cannot get it done. You know, we saw it.
He folds.
He crumbles.
Yeah.
The Niner defense has his number, and the guy just doesn't seem like he prepares enough when it really matters, right?
Yeah.
Brock, on the other hand, like, the guy is cool, calm, you know, very. He just makes it look easy. He makes it look easy. Like you said, 17 of 24, 4 touchdowns, amazing performance by Brock Purdy. Me and Steph were having a discussion prior to the show, like, who gets the MVP? Is it Fred Warner and the defense? Is it Kittle, or is it even Brock Purdy with the 4 touchdowns?
I mean,
like we could have a discussion for all 3 of those guys. Brock Purdy deserving gets to put his name in that hat in that conversation.
Yeah, really quickly, I do want to talk about Christian McCaffrey, because we talked about how dominant of a game that he had last week. Bit of a quieter game in this one by his standards, but still really good. He had 19 carries for 51 yards, which is actually just 2.7 yards per carry. And he also added 27 yards as a receiver. But what he did do in this one is he tied Emmitt Smith for 14 consecutive games with a touchdown. And what better team to do that with than the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
on national television.
National television.
On the big spotlight.
So I definitely love that for McCaffrey. I'm glad that we got to see Jordan Mason in this one too. He was pretty nice. He had 10 carries, 69 yards as well, and a touchdown. So it was just nice to see this offense just rolling on all cylinders. And we have to remember the guy that you're wearing on your jersey, Mr. George Kittle.
Number 85. Trust me, there's an 8 on this side of the jersey.
Yeah, the number 85. I mean, Kittle had an incredible game, and like earlier in the week, I was saying like he was defrosting a bit in the first 4 games of the season. Like, he wasn't all that involved. Like, it felt like a big game from Kittle was coming. And I mean, again, what better team to do it against than the Dallas Cowboys in this one? Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns. I mean, let's look at he had 67 yards as well. Dude, so he had 3 touchdowns on 4 targets.
Crazy.
That's insane. All 3 of his catches, he only caught 3 catches. All 3 of his catches were touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. So like, Kittle at any point is always ready to pop. And there are some games where the defense will focus on him maybe just a little bit more. But as we know, there's other guys who are going to step up. We saw Ayuk make some big catches early on in the game as well. I mean,
he was moving the chains. Ayuk was moving the chains. He made some big catches in this game.
That's the thing with Ayuk. I mean, he had 58 yards in this one, 4 catches, but it just seemed like they came at some good moments, and it set the tone early because him and Purdy were connecting early, and you know, for first downs, so they were moving the chains together. So it really helped set the tone, I thought.
I think when you talk about, you know, what CMC did, what Kittle did, Ayuk, you kind of see how many weapons we have and how many options Brock Purdy really has, because last week it was CMC, right? This week, Kittle, right?
Yeah.
Who's it going to be next week, right? You just don't know. You just don't know as a defensive coordinator who to prepare for, who to plan for. You could tell that the Dallas Cowboys came in here with the attitude of, we're not going to let CMC beat us today, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Kittle beat them, you know, and Ayuk had a pretty solid game as well. So, man, you have so many weapons. It's going to be a long week for the Browns defensive coordinator trying to prepare for what's coming up next week. Who do you stop? Who do you kind of game plan for, right? One thing I do want to say, Steph, you know, with the numbers you shared on Brock, how about the offensive line? Like, we talked about it during the game. They really didn't allow too much pressures. They were able to allow Brock Purdy to be in the pocket, stay in the pocket, deliver the ball. We didn't really see Brock under duress too much, right? I want to say he was sacked once.
I'm trying to find how do I pull up the team stats?
I want to say that that Brock Purdy was sacked once, lost of 2 yards.
Once or twice.
You know, again, the offensive line did an amazing job in giving Brock time to throw, sit in the pocket, and kind of really look at multiple options.
Yeah.
Remember, there was that one play you mentioned?
It was a 3rd and 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 3rd and 2. He had someone, I think it was Debo. He had Debo on a crosser coming open. That would have probably gotten him like the 2 yards that they needed to get that first down. Instead, he looked downfield. He found Jawan Jennings on the left side for a bigger gain. So that's like the thing with Brock Purdy, is he's always looking downfield. And that's the thing with the offensive line performance today, is like, they didn't have to settle for those short, quick gains all the time to make things happen. I'm trying to look for like the sacks. I guess it doesn't.
It was one. It was one. I confirmed it. Right here, Brock only got sacked once in the game for a loss of 2. So yeah, I think that's one thing that you know, can't be overlooked, is the offensive line, how great they played, the amount of time that they gave you know, Brock Purdy to be able to kind of, you know, slice and dice this Cowboys defense.
Yeah, and on the other hand, Dak Prescott was sacked 3 times, right? And, you know, Mr. Nick Bosa had one of those today. So, you know, as we've been saying, like, I think the defense was eventually going to get some of those sacks to, you know, turn in. They had been getting a lot of pressure, but, you know, we finally kind of saw it come together a little bit more in this game. So I had originally predicted the score to be 26-22. I thought it was going to be like a really close game, hard-fought battle. I thought the Cowboys were going to like give it their best and whatnot. And I was not expecting this level of dominance that we got from the 49ers, and I am just so happy that it happened. This is the 5th time this season that the 49ers have scored over 30 points. And what's crazy is that this is the most they scored all season, the 42 points, right? And it came against the best defense in the league. So it was a statement game. It was a statement game from, you know, Brock, as we mentioned, like 9 of his 10 regular season starts, the team has scored over 30 points. That in itself is a statement. That's like, people aren't talking about that enough. People don't talk about how impactful like Brock Purdy has been to this offense, but I really hope they saw it today, because this kid he's awesome.
That's impressive. Yeah. I'm curious to see when was the last time that a 49er quarterback did that. You know, I'm pretty sure it's probably a few decades maybe since that's happened. First quarterback that comes to mind is maybe Jeff Garcia, but I don't know. We may need to kind of go in the 49er
look in the archives.
49er Almanac book and kind of see, you know, when was the last time that happened. Impressive streak though by Brock. You know, the legend continues, right? Like, he just keeps growing in what he's done in such a short little time. The weapons are there. You know, what Kyle and the offensive coordinator is giving him. I think he's just enjoying everything that he has at his disposal, and just amazing performance today again. And just for him to score 30 points or more in 9 out of 10 games is just so awesome, especially with the challenges that we've had at quarterback, you know, in the last few years. You know, it's good to see that Brock is doing so much and being successful.
So I'm looking at some of the comments here. Keith had this great comment. Why did they ever place Parsons on Trent Williams' side? Self-inflicted game plan for Dallas. I agree, and I mentioned it to my brother as the game was happening. It was pretty early in the game. It was in the first half, and I was like, dude, like, we haven't really seen Parsons do anything. Oh, like, he's rushing from Trent Williams' side. Like, obviously he's not going to do anything. And I just felt like that was odd from Dallas because, like, they did move him around. Sometimes they did have him lining up against the 49ers' right side of the offensive line, but still it just felt like the 49ers had a great plan in place to stop him and get extra blockers on him, get George Kittle lined up on that side, all these things. So it was a great effort from the 49ers offensive line to stop him for sure.
I think that game plan was, again, I think the Cowboys defense was here to stop Christian McCaffrey. So maybe they said, hey, if you're going to run the ball behind, big Trent Williams, we're going to put our best defender there. We're going to want you, Brock Purdy, to go out and beat us. I think that was the game plan behind that. Because obviously the 49ers are going to run the ball more towards the side of Trent Williams.
Yeah.
But very, very surprised as to why, Parsons didn't line up on the opposite side from Trent Williams. It hurt them. It kind of did, backfire on them a bit because, Brock Purdy was able to have enough time to deliver down the field and find open receivers.
The lone draftsman said Colin Kaepernick led offense in 2013 was the last time the 49ers scored 30 points in 5 straight.
5 straight. But you're talking about 9, right? 9 out of 10 games?
Well, Brock Purdy himself in his regular season games has scored in 9 of 10 games. He's scored 10 or more. But to start this season, they've gone 5 straight games scoring 30 or more. So, yeah, and before that, it was Steve Young in 1997.
There we go.
That sounds about right. Steve Young again in 1994.
That sounds about right. But thanks for giving us some breaking down the numbers and giving us some history there.
Shout out Weston, my co-host for Monday. We do the 49 Carats 49 Player of the Week every Monday. Weston, I do have to fly in to Denver tomorrow, so we'll talk about maybe we need to push our time back a little bit more. But anyway, we'll have our work cut out for us in deciding who's going to be the 49K Player of the Week, because as we mentioned, there's a lot of guys who I think had some incredible games in this one, and it was impressive. So shout out to you, Weston. Can't wait for the show tomorrow. But yeah, it's an incredible game from the 49ers. And yeah, I mean, we'll be talking about it all week, but I just want to say appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like this video if you haven't yet. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for...
Steph, let's not forget. I wanted to share this with your viewers. Anytime me and you go to a game together...
tell them the record.
All time, Niners are 12-1. Anytime me and Steph are in the building together, all time 12-1. Regular season games now, we're 10-0. A perfect 10-0 whenever we're in the building. I gotta say, whenever we come to a game, I'm super confident that we're gonna get the job done.
Yes.
We're gonna walk away with the W.
We give the good juju.
Yeah, we do.
The one time that we didn't, it was an away game. It was the Rams game.
NFC Championship game.
That we saw. So that was the only
game we lost. Yeah.
That we saw together going to the game. So. Yeah, we have a pretty good record, so...
Let's keep that streak going.
We'll keep it going.
Niners PR, send us some free tickets to some Niner games this year.
All right. Well, that's it for us. But like I said, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Like I said, we'll have content throughout the week. But for now, from me, from my brother, peace.